Hey everyone, if you only have 5 minutes today and you don't really know what's going on in the political scene in Canada, I really hope that you watch this video because if you're barely interested or don't really care, you're a working Canadian and your concerns are to go to work and come back and spend time with your family, you probably don't have a lot of time to spend looking into the political side of what's happening. And that is what this video today is here to do. So I have been following Canadian politics for a long time now, and I can tell you exactly what's happening. And this is important information for you to know if you are going to vote in the October 2019 elections that are coming up. And share this with your friends. Anybody who's not interested in politics, this is for you. So here goes. What's happening right now in Canadian politics is that you are essentially being lied to. They're pulling the wool over your eyes and they're banking on the fact that you are not going to pay too close of attention of what is happening. And when I say they, I mean the political ruling class. Right now, Trudeau is one of them, but there are many, many more. And these guys are going all out to make sure that you don't find out what is actually happening. And I'm going to explain to you what they're doing. So, you were led to believe that according to Canadian history and all that, there's like two major political parties in Canada. There's the Liberals and there's the Conservatives. And over the past, century, they've been going back and forth between those two parties. So like the Conservatives will have power for a little bit and their job is to mostly, reconnect Canadians with the roots and making sure that we are preserving our values. And then for a little bit, the Liberals will get in and they in the past have done great things. Like they're the ones that have put the gay agenda on the books to make sure that there was no discrimination against gay people for their sexual orientation. Those were good things. And then the power would go back to the Conservatives and the Conservatives would say things like, oh, well, let's not go too far in this progressiveness. And back and forth. So it was a bit of a tennis match. And then there's all these like satellite parties around, like a NDP, who almost became too serious. NDP is essentially a de facto communist party, so be very aware. But they really haven't won enough to make them a substantial contender on the political scene in Canada. And same goes for all these other trailing parties that are there, like the Green Party. There's the Islamic Party of Ontario now, which is hoping to become a federal party. But really, all of those little satellite parties are not important enough. They're kind of just there making noise in the background and they attract a very minority of Canadians. So essentially the vote is always between the Conservatives and the Liberals. And this is how it's been going for the last decades. Now, in the last decade that we're in now, something very alarming has been happening. And what that is the Conservatives have now merged with the Liberals. So even though there's two distinct parties, both of them represent the same thing. If you look at their political agendas and you can Google them, everything they're promising you is roughly the same thing. There's no major difference between the two platforms. And what these two parties have done is they have become globalists. And what this means is they are working towards opening up Canada to become the prototype, if you want, for a global society. So when you see things like unvetted mass migration, increased numbers of immigration, a large amount of tolerance for every religion, every practice, every culture, these are globalist items. These are things that they're trying to push on here in Canada so that there is no one group really, but it's like a blended group, kind of representative of what it would be if the whole world was under one government. There would be different races, there would be different cultures, but they would all report up to one government. So essentially that's what globalism is. And the Trudeau actually told us that we were a globalist state when he went out and said that Canada is a post-national state, the first post-national state in the world. That's exactly what he meant. He's actually blatant enough to tell us this is all up in the air, it's in front of you. but the problem is many people didn't realize what it was to be a post-national state. Like nobody really had any idea when he came out and said that. So kind of a lot of people just ignored. Trudeau says a lot of stuff people ignore. So they just moved on. But what he was telling us is that we're already there. We're already in a post-nationalist state, which means we're globalist in essence. We're the petri dish of globalism for the world. And the conservatives are no better than the liberals in that game because they are pushing the same idea. So they also want the same globalist ideals that the liberal current government wants in Canada. And let me tell you this, after having studied the world governments, so the national socialisms, the socialist governments, and then the communist governments, even the fascism, like nothing comes even close to how damaging globalism will be. At least in a fascist state, it's contained within the state, so you have a chance of overthrowing it. But imagine if there was a group of elders, the elder globalist elite group who are leading the world. The chances of them becoming a worldwide dictatorship are almost 100%. It's a guaranteed state of affairs. There's going to be no other outcome. And what are you going to do when that happens? Are you going to get your shotgun from your basement and try to defeat the globalist army that's going to come? Like, it's going to be a very, very mass killing of human beings on an unprecedented scale. We thought the 20th century was really bad. I think if a world government came about, it would be far, far worse. So just look at the main talking points. Like they're obsessing right now. The liberals and the conservatives are both obsessing about climate change, which has now been escalated to climate emergency. And they've called it global warming because this is a perfect item for them to latch onto to say, look, global warming is not just affecting Canada, but we have to look at it at a global scale, and therefore we have to participate at a global scale. So it's no longer a nationalist problem. Global warming is a post-nationalist problem, and they are pushing that hard. That is exactly why they pick climate change. I mean, they don't actually care about the climate. The ruling class in Canada is constantly flying back and forth their jets. While they're lecturing us about walking to work. It's a joke. It's a joke, really. The global warming is not a real thing, and it is just an ideological ground for the globalist governments to stand on. This is how they manipulate you. Another way that they've manipulated you in the past, and now they're still doing this, is through the media. So they're actively suppressing anything they don't want in the media, and Trudeau actually bought the mainstream media. So after that was an easy move for him. He just took our tax dollars and paid the media and said, publish what we want and you'll be good to go. You're set. You're going to keep getting more funds. Now his problem is, what does he do about the internet? So this is where he's actively going after the internet with stupid things, stupid regulations like hate speech. So hate speech is not what an average good-meaning Canadian would think. You would think, oh, hate speech is meant to go in and counter discrimination against other people of different races. Or it would be something where you can't attack gay people with your words because that would be damaging to them. Or it would be like a cyberbullying would be considered hate speech. That's what a good-minded, good-hearted Canadian would think. But what Trudeau and the Liberals and Scheer and the Conservatives mean when they say they want to control online hate speech is they want to control anything that exposes them for being the globalist that they are. And this is where they're hitting hard. So when they can't censor something on the internet, what they say is that person is a white supremacist. So they've brought in this ludicrous idea that there's a problem of white supremacy in the world. Whites are on a global scale, if you want to talk globalism, in a global scale, whites are a minority. So to say that there's a massive problem with white supremacy is a ludicrous concept to begin with, but it's really just a tactical weapon for the government, because by saying that there's white supremacy, that there's a problem of white privilege, it allows them to shut down people who are saying things they don't want them to say by just attacking them with a name. So it's like calling them a racist, but you know, you call them a white supremacist, they're a Nazi, and people freak out. It's a stigma in society, and so you get easily booted out with that kind of language. So it's an ideological weapon. So both the conservatives and the liberals are doing it. And you'll notice too, as we get closer to the election campaign dates where they're going to actively go into it, so they're going to take a bit of a summer break, and after, when they come back and they get more serious about the campaign trail, you'll see that Scheer will attack, so Andrew Scheer, the leader of the Conservatives, will attack Justin Trudeau, the leader of the Liberals, and back and forth. But it's almost going to be like a comedy of sort. It's going to be like a funny attack. Like, you know, they've already started. I saw one where it was like, Scheer, the yes man, he says yes to everything. And then Scheer and his folks will come out with a thing against Trudeau. They're probably going to mock him for all the stupid times that he was unable to answer a question with any form of decorum in front of a camera. And they're going to go back and forth like that. But ultimately, they don't care who wins. They don't care, because even if conservative or a liberal, they're the same party at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter who wins. So they're gonna make a mockery out of attacking each other, and it's gonna be an entertaining thing. But they're really going to go after the online people, so the whistleblowers, the people who have YouTube channels like me. They're going to work with YouTube to go and censor or demonetize, or actually just deperson the whole YouTube channel. So take it off YouTube and all of the other online social media outlets that there are. So if a very serious thing that's happening in Canada right now, and I don't think a lot of Canadians are noticing what's happening, and this is why I'm trying to put this video out here, so that hopefully people are going to be able to watch it. And I know that I said 5 minutes at the start, and I see my timer on my screen, and I'm already at like 12 or whatever, and I apologize. I really did intend to make this 5 minutes, but I can't seem to get all the ideas out in such a brief, concise period of time. So I hope you're still here listening to this. I do have a little bit more to cover before I end this off, so thank you for your patience. What is happening now with the parties is that there is one party that is coming out and that is going against this, and this is a nationalistic party. And what that means is it's a party that is trying to go and look after the interests of Canada as a country, as a sovereign nation, independent of other nations and not part of any form of global government. And this party, so it's the Maxime Bernier party. I'm not paid by him. I'm not a secret Maxime Bernier agent. The party name is the People's Party of Canada. But what you'll notice is that you've never heard of them. And this is by design. This is because while the Conservatives and the Liberals are busy attacking each other in that comedic show display that they're going to do, they do that so that you don't notice this other party. So it's completely by design. Everything they do is a calculated move. So the People's Party of Canada, and I really encourage you to look into this. Look into their leader. I think Maxime Bernier, he was sitting in the Conservative Party before, and I think that he just realized how bad it was within the Conservatives, which is why he caused a schism, and he just broke off from the Conservative Party. And it was a matter of, I think, weeks or maybe a few months where he went in and created his own party, registered it, and now it is growing. So the mainstream media and the leaders of the current ruling class are going to completely ignore him. And when there is too much buzz going on about the People's Party of Canada, then they'll turn to the open bashing of the People's Party of Canada. So you are going to hear things like, Maxime Bernier is a Nazi, he's a white supremacist, he's anti-immigration. These are all the narratives that they're going to start pushing. And when you hear that, you can know that there is a sense of panic within the globalist agenda that is representative by both the Conservatives and the Liberals, because they are now realizing that there is a growth, a grassroots growth within Canada. A lot of people in Canada want Canada first. They want the people of Canada to be taken care of, and they want our sovereignty to be taken care of. And this is exactly what the People's Party that Maxime Bernier is heading up is doing for Canada. And I know there's a lot of talk within the political circle on YouTube of oh, now you jump over here, now you jump over there. And I think, yes, that's possible. I used to be a conservative until I had no other option until Maxime Bernier came along. But then when he came along, I stayed quiet for a long time. I just watched what happened. And in my assessment, it is the only chance that Canada has to remain a sovereign state for a little bit longer. So it'll give us the opportunity to fight globalism if we elect Maxime Bernier and his People's Party. It's a long shot, I know. I don't know if there's people in every riding. I don't even know if it's a possibility to have him elected at this point. But a lot of people didn't think Trump could get elected in the States. And look what happened to him. So it does give a little bit of hope that there could be a wave of nationalism in Canada. I think a lot of Canadians out there do want it. I think a lot of Canadians just simply didn't understand what was happening between the Conservatives and the Liberals, and they thought, well, if I vote for the Conservatives, at least they're going to be working for Canada. But unfortunately for Canadians, the Conservative Party is no longer working for Canada. It has become globalist, just like the Liberals have already become a globalist. And Justin Trudeau has already told us that they're a globalist by mentioning that they're a post-national state. So there you go, guys. I can't tell you what to do in your election, on your ballot when you go vote, but I really do hope that you would consider voting for a nationalist party, somebody that can bring back Canada to Canadians and stop funding every other country in the world and bringing every other people from all over the world in Canada, just in an effort to jam-pack us, to prepare us to be the testing grounds of the first globalist state in existence. So there you go, guys. Like it. If you're still here, I thank you deeply for staying with me this whole video. And I hope that you share this. I mean, my channel is not that big, but I really do hope that other people would be able to share this so this can reach as many people as possible. And share it with your friends that really don't care too much about politics in Canada, but that still will vote in the October elections. So there we go. Cheers, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.